sonorous metal, blowing martial sounds, wrote Milton in Paradise Lost. But to those of us who heard these stirring sounds, it was paradise regained. For these were the echoes of another age. Miraculously restored to us for all too short a time by Mercedes Benz as a tribute to Richard Seaman, whose great name the main event at Oulton Park commemorates on this day, the 28th of June 1958. The sounds came from two cars, the 1937 Type W125, a supercharged straight 8 of 5.6 litres, which produced over 640 brake horsepower at 5,800 RPM, the greatest ever achieved in a Grand Prix car. A little reluctant to start after all these years. But the 3-litre car fires straight away. Goes out for a warming up lap. The 3-litre car, the Type W163, was built for the 1938 Formula One, a V12 supercharged which had a power output of 483 brake horsepower. Duly warmed, the car is ready for Peter Collins to try, and Carl Kling briefs him.
So ist Zündung eingeschaltet. Now the ignition is on.
Collins goes off to try the car. Here he is, coming into Old Hall Corner. And again, on the exit from Old Hall, down to Cascades. Laurence Pomeroy asks Collins all about it.
Well, I think the first thing we want to know is, did it seem very peculiar or less peculiar than you thought it was going to be?
Oh, far less peculiar than I thought it was going to be, yes.
In other words, it's a fairly modern motor car, although it was built nearly 20 years ago.
Oh, yes, indeed. It's very comfortable. Suspension's very good. The brakes are, well, to my mind, no harder to put on, shove. You know, the pedal pressure, in other words, is no greater than it is on present-day sports cars.
Fundamentally an understeering car?
Well, no, not with all that horsepower. I would say it's basically a very definitely oversteering car with power.
When you've got power.
On braking, it tends to understeer, obviously, quite a bit in the wet here. But I think a lot of that's to do with the tyres on the front, which are very new and very, very, very round. You know.
Is the power curve peaky, or does it come in fairly low down?
It appears to me to come in about 5,500. There's a lot of power below, but it seems to really start the motor hard.
So you've got about 2,000 RPM
to play with. Gearbox is lovely.
Steering position, I suppose, a bit old-fashioned.
I don't like that now. That's they had everything far too close to them for my liking. In fact, the steering's as light as anything.
Is it?
Very, very light, yes.
Meantime, Tony Brooks has a go with the W163 3-litre. And here he is at Knickerbrook on the first time round. Second lap, still at Knickerbrook. Now listen to him as he takes the car up Clay Hill to Druids and on to Lloyd. Now the 5.6-litre car is ready after a broken key in the gear-type fuel pump is repaired, and Tony goes out of it. Past the pits and into Old Hall Corner. Now coming out of Old Hall. In a dear leap, we can hear Brooks in the big car all the way from Druids as he fights the car on the still wet circuit. And to get Brooks's impressions on the big banger, let's listen to the other side.
Like that, Peter.
One of the things that impressed Tony Brooks most was the tremendous power developed by the 1937 5.6-litre car.
When I first got in the car, I couldn't understand what the vibration was. It was about 3 thou, you see.
Yes.
And all it was that the wheels were just spinning so much that the gear was going like this, you see, completely around the course. I mean, it doesn't matter what gear you're in. You can induce wheel spin with sort of about an eighth of an inch movement of throttle anywhere. I mean, fourth, third, second. I mean, it really is fabulous.
It's really top gear motoring.
It is, yeah. I mean, I was using second, third and fourth because it sounds better, you know, to spectators. But in actual fact, I think you'd probably go just as quick in top, maybe, and certainly third and top.
Yes.
Because it's a sort of really top gear motor car. You just sort of trundle along. It doesn't. You don't seem to be going. But when you get pointed in a straight line,
Is the handling noticeably different from the other?
no, I think you can notice that the 3-litre is an improvement in the suspension on this one. I mean, the front wheels do this a little bit more on this.
Yes.
And it's a little bit harder ride. And but otherwise, I think it's fabulous.
But that was Friday, and practice day. On race day, the weather relented, and Peter Collins takes the 5.6-litre out onto a dry circuit before racing started. Here he is, coming into Old Hall. And out towards Cascades. Now Peter and Tony discuss the W125 with Laurence Pomeroy.
You should have tried yesterday in the wet, boy.
What do you think I went home for?
It's the Didion, boy. Bobbing up and down.
And what sort of gears were you using?
Second, third, and second and third.
Second and third.
Yeah,
yes.
top was too.
Did you get into top?
Too much.
I didn't. No. I thought the expression was a bit out of valor there.
And does it come in with a wallop or fairly even right through?
It comes in with a wallop. It's got power everywhere as far as I can
Yes.
see. Lots of power.
Yes.
Brakes
The brakes are all right, yes. You can see the black marks all around the circuit.
Really?
Oh,
Does it come round at all, or do you keep
yes,
it
it does.
first?
But funnily enough, when you put the brakes on to come into a corner, if you're sort of going slightly to the left and slightly to the right, the tail seems to slide around a little bit. If you give it just a bit of power, it stays absolutely like that. And you can just boodle around the corner on sort of an easy throttle. And as soon as you get it pointing in a straight line,
Yes.
and I mean really a straight
Straight
line,
line,
then you breathe on the middle pedal again.
Yes.
But now it's time for the Mercs to give their demonstration. At Knickerbrook, Collins leads in the 3 litre. Now Brooks drives the 3 litre, and Collins the W125.
With the 5 litre thrust this time, just to make the trade.
All round the circuit, the air reverberates to the thunderous exhausts as the years fall away, and the 3-pointed star once more rides high in the motor racing sky. And the 2 drivers, every bit as great as their cars, swap the lead. And all too soon it's over. Time leaps forward to the present, and the past sleeps on again. Its frame regilded, and our memories revitalized by the sight and the sound and that boot-polish smell of an earlier age in motor racing history. But one more word with the drivers. What was it like, Peter?
Oh, fantastic.
Tony?
I don't reckon they'll ever get that rubber off Oulton Park. No, it'll never be the same.
Before we go, let's hear them just once more.
Trade.